All right, PoE players, let's go ahead and check out all of the legendary, or aka the unique gloves in the game. So, starting right off, we've got the tree fingers. So this gives us increased armor, and we get some physical damage to attacks, and of course, Giant's Blood. So that was something we mentioned on the last one. This is a really cool thing, though, because it gives you the ability to wield two-handed axes, maces, and swords, and it does give you the triple attribute requirements of said weapons, but cool item indeed. Next up, we have the Loctonial Caresses, which gives us increased skill speed, which is basically like an attack and or cast speed. And then we have maximum life, reduced maximum mana, and then spare charges with allies in your presence. So charges are going to be your endurance charges, power charges, and your frenzy charges. So it mainly can be used maybe for any build that would revolve around minions, because those charges, maybe the minions can use them if they can, or if you can give something where your allies can gain something on some other stat based on the charge they have. Then we have a series Acuity, which are some gloves that will give you increased armor, increased crit chance, and then we also get some intelligence, and leech from critical hits is instant. So what that means is when you're doing some sort of leech, it regens whatever. That could be life or mana or energy shield, and from a crit, it means that it just gives it to you instantly. It could be something to consider, since there's no like things in PoE where it's like if you get the notable, then you can get like the other like bonus like mastery thing from it. Next up, we have the North Paw Suede Bracers, granting us some physical damage, increased critical damage bonus, and then base critical hit chance for attacks with weapons is 8. That's actually pretty cool. Considering some weapons can have, like, let's say 5%, it could, in some cases, actually doubles your crit. It might be hard to understand this concept for someone coming from Diablo, but when your item says 100% crit strike chance, that actually means whatever the weapon is, let's say it has 5%, 100% of 5% is then going to be 5%, so you get that doubled, right? But if you change the base critical hit and that's 8%, when you get 100%, then it would change to 8%, so you're getting almost double. So again, depends on the item that you're running, because if the base crit is going to be really high anyways, then this would be even worse. But for the most part, in a lot of builds, this will be an upgrade. It is a pretty big thing to sacrifice considering the rest of the stats on it. I guess the increased critical strike damage bonus, as long as it's not like a multiplier, it could be good. And then we have Grip of Winter Firm Bracers. We get to increase evasion, we get some cold damage, freeze build up, and then we have increased magnitude of chilled influx. So if you're really looking to freeze things, I guess you can go for that. I think it's actually pretty good in this game to freeze things. Then we have Idle Hands, so we have some increased evasion rating, we get some accuracy rating, we get int, 25% increased attack speed while on full mana, and you count as full mana while you have 90% of your mana or above. So that could be pretty good, because if you're able to regen that amount and it says like while at full mana, that means you can maybe cast 2 things and you can kind of hold it down, and then if it regens or you have some sort of like leech on it, that could be okay. So it's like kind of niche, but it does have its use. You have Snake Bites. Those actually look really cool. I like the artwork on it. So we have increased evasion, chaos res, and 20% chance to poison on hit. Targets can be affected by +1 of your poisons at the same time. This is actually cool. It fits the theme of the poison, because Snake Bites, I want to say that they have seen some play in some builds in PoE 1, but mostly just like a meme item that for like late game. But this could actually be pretty good in PoE 2, because you can only, in PoE 1 you can infinitely poison, like you can just thousands of poisons on the target. And in PoE, well, there was like certain things where like as long as the target died fast enough, because if you put too many stacks, I think the game like it gets a little bit laggy. But as far as I'm aware of, you can only apply 1 poison in PoE 2 unless you mod it, so this actually has use, so that's cool. Maligra's Virtuosity Bracers, we have increased evasion, we have crit, and then we have attack speed, then we have some dexterity, and your critical damage bonus is 300%. Now that automatically makes it 300, great for, oh, it's level 45 though. I'm going to say like great for like earlier stages of the game, as long as you can get that crit, you know, chance up, or if you get something that says like your next hit after X, Y, or Z, you can get a crit, and then you just keep on utilizing that 300% bonus. But as far as it, I mean, it is level 45. Maybe some people can use it. So what this is used for is you get a bunch of crit strike chance, but you get no crit damage, because it always is 300 no matter what. Then we have Painters, so we get some fire, cold res, and then, then we have elemental damage converted to cold So 33% of it's converted to cold, fire. Oh, so it like converts all of it into like multiple. That's a cool idea of an item. The stats unfortunately are like too low of it, but like if you really want to do mixed damage, because there are some enemies that have like immunities to certain ones, then you can have some more consistency. It's a low level item though, but like it doesn't really increase your damage, so to speak, unless a target is like immune to one. We have candle makers, so we have increased energy shield, fire, cold resist, and chance to ignite is doubled, which makes them take burn damage over time. It's usually used with like fire skills, but there are other ways to apply ignite even on lightning or cold. We have Dodri's Tenosure, which gives us 100% spell damage. We have reduced cast speed and some intelligence. Now, I think this is just like some additive damage, basically, with it, but it's getting lower level stuff. You're probably not going to gloves that give you that much damage, but I really don't like the reduced cast speed. You actually want the lower roll on it. Then we have Kitoko's Current, which are some gloves that gives us some energy shield, dexterity, reduced attack and cast speed, but lightning damage from hits contributes to electrocution buildup. So let's see what this does. So it's an ailment that prevents them by performing any action. So it's like a stun. Okay. So if you're really looking to stun, I guess you can use that. Then we have the Demon Stitcher, which makes it so you will gain energy shield, max life, increased cast speed, and you get to sacrifice 8% of your life to gain that much energy shield when you cast a spell. So maybe you have some leech and you really want to build energy shield, or for whatever reason you use energy shield for like another source, maybe you can consider that as well. And then we have the Yargan Griper, Ringmail Gauntlets. So some physical damage, some life, we get increased attack speed, and strength can satisfy other attribute requirements of melee weapons and melee skills. Cool. I'm not sure if people are going to really want that towards like the end game. Maybe you have an item that requires so much of a certain thing, but it says only for melee weapons and melee skills, which is usually strength based anyways. So I don't know, unless there's some sort of niche thing with this at face value, I don't see people using it. Then we have Azure Seas Layered Gauntlets. So we have increased armor and evasion rating, and we have increased rarity of items found, and then we lose 2% of life on kill. That is a pretty big downside for that, but maybe you're playing a build that doesn't require it. Now, I'm not sure how this would register. Like, if let's say I only have 2% HP, does that mean when I kill an enemy, I just die myself? Or how does it work? I don't know. But yeah, these gloves over here do give you up to 50% increased rarity, which is pretty massive in the game. Then we have the Deathblow Double Gauntlets. So this is giving us increased armor and evasion. We have 30 life and mana per enemy killed. We also gain Calling Strike. Calling Strike sucks in PoE too. Just the reality of it. So I'd say, I mean, is it low level? 33 is not super low. Like the mana and life, I was thinking, oh, maybe you can use it, but like that means it's bad for bosses unless the boss summons adds. And Calling Strike is just, like I said, Calling Strike sucks in PoE 1 compared to 2, or PoE 2 compared to 1. And 1 is like 10% HP, you smack it, it's gone. It's basically cut in half for like the, like sure it works on the other like monsters, but like, do you really need Calling Strike on normal monsters? Probably not. Anyways, next up we have Eris Vein Wings, Burnished Gauntlets. We get increased armor and evasion, we get increased attack speed, so we get also in some int, and then decimating strike. So that's the whole point of running it. Hits against full life enemies remove between 5 and 30% of life before the damage of the hit is applied. Now, as far as I'm aware of, this, I was super excited when I saw this. I think it works based on the type of monster. So, as in, if it is a unique monster, it only removes 5%. Like, you can't just go to like the end game super boss and be like, I'm hitting it one time, I RNG'd that 30% in the first try. I don't think it works like that. If it does work like that, then this thing is pretty godly, but as far as I'm aware of how that certain thing interaction works, it's like, again, Calling Strike, where it's like based on whatever the monster is. Like, if I'm hitting all the trash monsters for like 30% of their life, I mean, I think I should be doing that anyway, so I just don't think that's good. But if it works the other way, then yeah, I would always equip it, go into a boss fight, hit it for RNG, whatever the amount, and then re-equip my actual gloves. Next up, though, we have Gravebind Rope Cuffs, so we gain some energy shield and armor, which is like so low it doesn't matter, and then we get life, meta, low level, sure, it's cool. Enemies killed by anyone in your present count as being killed by you instead, so maybe some like bonuses from your minions, but again, low level item. Shackles of the Wretched Aegis Cuffs, so you can't be chilled after being chilled, you can't be frozen after being frozen, you can't be ignited, shocked after whatever, so curses you inflict are reflected back on you. So you may want to use that for that last line, whereas like you may want to use a curse, and then when you're afflicted by a certain curse, you can have that effect like reversed or something like that. Yeah, I like these kind of unique items on it, but the rest of the stats on it are pretty garbage. The rest of the stuff, maybe you can use it. Then we have the blue flame bracers over here, which give us some int, fire, and cold res, and fire converted to cold. So if you need to convert damage, that is maybe your best on slot. And then we have plague finger, which gives us some evasion and energy shield. We have increased attack speed, chance to poison on hit. All damage from hits contributes to poison magnitude. So if you really want to try to scale poison, you could consider that. But I think the snake one is so much better. Like, again, because you can only have one poison in PoE2, adding double that amount is pretty big. And there's probably other ways to get increased poison stacks. Then we have the Killjoy Linen Reps, which gives us extra maximum life. Life lasts, do not recover life. On kill effects happen twice. Oh, that's very interesting. But there's that big downside of life lasts don't give you HP. But maybe you can convert it to something else. Then we have Legion Stride Rough Greaves. So that's going to give us increased armor, stun threshold, minus physical damage taken from projectile attacks. And then we have 10% block chance. Leveling minus 10 from projectile attacks, that's about it. I wish I had some movement speed. They're really stingy on movement speed, I've noticed in this game. So far, at least, in terms of like the drops. Next up, though, we have Corpse Wade, which are some greaves that give us some movement speed. Then we have increased armor, some strength, trigger, decompose skill on steps. So whenever you walk, it decomposes. Does it say what decompose does? No, it doesn't. I would have to know what that does. I'm guessing it does something to make. I wonder if it's damage. Looks like some zombie foot over here. They have Infinite Pursuit, which gives us 10%. Like, yeah, these need to be way more. They need to have at least 15, 20, man. All right. Anyways, increased armor, some life, increased chance to be afflicted by ailments when hit. And then 20% increased movement speed while afflicted by an ailment. So there's kind of a double-edged sword with that. And then we have Trample Toe, which are some boots that give us increased movement speed, increased armor, increased attribute requirements, deal 30% of overkill damage to enemies within 3 meters when enemies killed. So overkill is where any damage from the hit exceeds the HP. This could be kind of cool if just for clear speed. I like that idea. Again, it's like level 27, 10% movement speed. Can we at least give us like 15? Next up, Birth of the Fury Stone Greaves. So we got increased movement speed, some life, fire res, drop igniting ground while moving, which lasts 8 seconds, and your ignites as though dealing fire damage equal to 10% of your maximum life. Wow, that could be like extra bonus. Okay, so igniting ground ignites the enemies. And then we have Briar Laced Boots. So we get 10 to 20% movement speed. Okay, this is level 11. Okay, now we're moving some nice, decent 20% movement speed. And then we have some extra life, and then we have stun threshold, and 15% to thorns critical hit. Oh, so you can crit with thorns. That's interesting. I never expected that. Then next up, we have the Gamble Sprint, which gives us increased evasion rating, some dex, lightning resistance, and gain 0 to 40% increased movement speed when hit until hit again. Huh. I mean, like, if you just roll that 40 and just try not to get hit, will people actually run this? I don't know, considering it's 0 to 40, and if you average it out to 20, I would just take 20% move speed. Anyways, Thunder Step, we get increased movement speed, some evasion rating, we get maximum lightning resistance, and then we also get lightning resistance. Cool stuff if you want to convert all your damage taken to, like, lightning. And then we have Bushwhack, Lizards. Like, if you can do this with Lightning Coil, which I believe we went through all the armors and we did not see Lightning Coil, but, like, let's say they come out with it later. And keep in mind, it's an early access game. I'm sure they're going to add more uniques. We have Bushwhack, which are Lizard Scale Boots, which gives us increased movement speed. That's a good amount. Finally, 25. There we go. And then we got physical damage is pinning. So what does pinning do? Certain skills effects allow damage to build up pinned. Once this passes the enemy's pin threshold, they are pinned, preventing them from being moved or moved. While pinned, you count as being immobilized. Okay. I wonder if it works against some of like the bosses. Is that something that we have to build up, just like, freeze? Luminous Paste Straws. So we get increased movement speed, some int, and then reduce energy shield recharge rate and 100% faster of energy shield recharge. And then finally, a good pair of boots here. It's like the first one that I'm like actually excited about, which I actually ended up seeing because of a previous video that I made. Anyways, Wanderlust gives us increased movement speed. So finally, low level, 20%. That's what I like to see. The maximum energy shield is whatever, dex is whatever. Your speed is unaffected by slow. That's why you would run it, because there are so many like degens on ground, grasping vines, maimed, hindered. There's I can go on and on with PoE. There's a lot of stuff that slows you down in the game. So having that is pretty dang nice. I was actually thinking about the Pathfinder for just that thing. And also when you move in the game, I don't think it's considered a slow, but like when you actually cast and move at the same time or you're shooting a bow, that does also slow you down. Now, I don't think that this would get around that. I think that that's its own mechanic. But if it does work, I mean, this is godly. It makes it even better. And, well, that would make that class a lot... That'd make that class kind of worthless, to be honest, or that ascendancy. But yeah, I would say these are pretty great for leveling. They have Bones of Aurora, so we gain energy, life, mana, and undead minions have reduced reservation. So maybe you can get more minions. I like it. Cool item. And then we have Wonder Trap, which gives movement speed and some strength, dex, int, and increased rarity of items found while in low life. So if you really want to go crazy with the build, run those gloves, run this thing, and then remember you lose 2% of your HP when you eliminate an enemy. So you can get to that low life much faster and maybe eliminate yourself faster too. Windscream. Oh, these were great in PoE 1. All right, we got increased movement speed, increased energy shield, and curses have no activation delay. What is that? So how it works in PoE 1 is you get an extra, like, oh, is this where they, because some of the curses in this game, you have to reach a condition to get the bonus. Is that maybe what it means by it? I'm not sure what activation delay means, so I couldn't give you a better review. But it used to give you +1 to curses, which was actually a pretty big source of damage. You can like get, I don't know, 20, 30% more damage depending on like what build you're playing. It was great because you just apply your curses on hit, which was automatically. I think it sucks in PoE 2 though, as far as I'm aware. Unless there's something really cool with this that I'm unaware of. I just don't see me wanting to run those. Then we have some boots over here, the Knights Errant, movement speed, armor and evasion, and then we also get iron reflexes, which converts all of our evasion rating to armor. This could be kind of good, but like, come on, 10% movement speed. Again, I wish they were not so stingy with this. If this was like 20% movement speed, I think it'd be much better. Again, because people want to move fast in this game, especially since everything else is so dang slow. We have Dark Ray Vectors. These were good in PoE 1, and they at least give you the +1 frenzy charge and the maximum the increased movement speed. So this is like a good transfer of an item, where like they kind of ruined, I would say. Windscream is relatively like ruined. Anyways, because its identity was you would get the extra curse. That's what you want. And also give you all resistance too, so it's like even worse. Anyways, Dark Ray Vectors. Now we have... armor and evasion, lightning resistance, reduced light radius, but you literally, it's just +1 to frenzy charge. Now, frenzy charges, as far as I'm aware of, I was looking it up before, like all these like charges on PoE, they give you like a bonus. Depending on what build you're playing, I mean, this could be pretty nice because it's hard to get, before you'd have to get like, I think it was like a corruption implicit on to get the plus to frenzy charge. It's really hard to get. And so, well, another way to get frenzy charge is always good for like, it's more so for niche builds though. Anyways, Burns Bastion. So you have these boots that give us increased armor and evasion, life regen per second. That's really low for like level 33. But anyways, reduce effective chill, freeze, shock, and chill, freeze, and shock. Not ignite though. Okay, interesting. Don't really care for it. It's like whatever. And then Wake of Destruction. So we get to increase armor and energy shield. Adds 1 to 50 lightning damage to attacks. Pretty good for leveling for sure. And then drop shock ground when you move, which that's going to make them take the affected by shock, so you get even more damage. So I like it. It's a really, really cool item. Just for this, like, what level is it? Is it 16? I still think it's, I mean, like I said, they're very stingy with the movement speed. I don't know why. Like, all of these uniques should have at least, like, 10 to 25, 30 movement speed. Where's the 7 league step, though? All right, we got Ghost March. So this is increased evasion and energy shield, maximum mana, chaos reg. Dodge roll passes through enemies. Hey, that's an actual really good feature. Because, like, on my rogue, or my ranger, I have an ability, if I get surrounded by enemies, I can like shoot and it kind of jumps me back, and I like that. But like my other classes don't have that access, and so I try not to get surrounded by enemies. But if I can pass through the enemies, I think this would be really cool for bosses. As far as the other stats though, I mean, it's like a low level item. It does give you chaos res, which is kind of a premium stat. Massive amount of mana in the earlier stages, cool. But I like the artwork of this, really cool stuff. Then we have the powered hunting, our power tread. So some shoes over here that grant us increased movement speed, increased evasion energy shield, some int, power charges, and then a critical damage bonus per power charge. So it's something to scale. I like it. That's another cool item. Next up though, for the shields. Okay, so I'm really curious to see if we have that one shield. Let's see. Deondadar, so Splinter Tower Shield, so we get, all of the shields will grant you the ability to raise your shield. Remember, raising shield is different in PoE 2 because you didn't have it in PoE 1, so you actually have to like move it, and it actually has to block in that direction. So we get increased armor, strength, reduced stun threshold, and we also double stun threshold while shield is raised. Then we have Wolf's Bane, which gives us maximum life, stun threshold, and permanently intimidate enemies on block. And an intimidate makes them take more damage, and you take 10% less. So this is low level, pretty cool low level item. Doomgate grants us increased block chance, and then we also get increased armor, and we take 20% of damage from blocked hits, but enemies are cold on block. Coaling strike on a block. That is pretty interesting because like the little thing is a little gate and a skeleton. I think it's a cool design, like the artwork on that. Then we have the Wailing Wall, which is a shield that gives us reduced movement speed, increased armor, and then we have stun threshold and can block damage from all hits. And then it says it cannot use shield skills. So there's a big downside with that. Then we have Lyco Side Rampart Shield. So we get increased block chance. We have increased armor, and accuracy rating is doubled. And then blocking damage poisons the enemy as though dealing 100 base chaos damage. Is this like low level? 20. It's not super low level. I like the idea of it because it's like a spider on it. And then we have the Surrender. Okay, so we have some armor, then we have block chance, increased armor, and then stun threshold. I remember this item seeing some play in PoE 1. Like there was like some like super OP thing. If anyone remembers that, you can let me know. I just remember that it had some sort of use. I'm looking at it. I'm like, what makes it so good now? Let me check this. And I found it. So the reason why people liked it in the previous PoE game was that you had like all the stats are like pretty solid on it overall, but the recover life when you block, that's a really good stat. And well, they removed it, so it probably won't be seeing too much play, at least from what I can tell. Then we have the Arvil's Wheel, which is a hardwood targe. So we get some block chance, increased armor evasion. We lose life and mana by 1% on kill, but we get increased skill effect duration. So at least there's some reason to maybe want to try it. And then we have, that's so weird that it also gives us, all the shields give us like minus movement speed like they do. But this one's, for some reason, this one is minus 1.5, not 3% movement speed. Anyways, Merit of the Service. Grants us increased block chance, increased armor and evasion. We have stun threshold. Allies in your presence have block chance equal to yours, so you can keep your minions up. Feathered Fortress Crescent Targe will give us some strength, dex, fire, cold res, and no movement speed penalty while shield is raised. Oh, that could be kind of a reason to run it. I think that will make the game feel better, so you're not super slow. Then we have the Blazon Crest Shield, the Alchem area. So we get increased block chance, armor and energy shield, some mana, and damage blocked is recouped as mana. That's really cool. It's 100% of that. So that means when I take damage, it's going to regenerate all of that damage as mana. I think that's a really cool idea. Maybe if you run, like, let's say, Mind over Matter, which makes it so, like, your mana is basically your HP. Now, obviously, that could be a pretty big downside, but then you could just block, recover all of it, and then you'd have, like, more HP. If you're getting stuck on the bosses, I think that could be a thing. Then we have Oaksworn, which is a shield that gives us block chance, increased armor and energy shield, some 50 of spirit, so maybe for some summoner builds you can consider this, but I'd probably wield 2 scepters. I see very little chances of me wanting to not run 2 scepters, considering if this gave me like over 100 spirit, and like, because you're sacrificing so much damage to it, I just don't see people wanting to use this. Like, maybe if it said plus, like, I don't know, 150 at bare minimum, that way I can have like more of my spirit here, but it does give you chaos res, but it's obviously a defensive item. Anyways, Sapphil's Frame, which gives us cold, fire, lightning res. You can't block, no chance to block, modifiers to maximum block chance instead apply to maximum resistances. Ooh, that's actually pretty dang cool. I don't know how much maximum block chance you can get, but if I can get that up, I think PoE goes to, what is it? Is it 80%? I think 80% is the maximum amount of wait, let me double check. Or it might be 90. Okay, and I just found out this item is potentially super OP. Now, again, I don't know what it is in PoE 2. Yeah, right now there's a lot of stuff that's like still being worked on, like PoE 2 wiki. So I want to say this one might be kind of vague, but like if you can get like up to 90% chance to block, and then going back to this, I think that this is insane. This is like actually really good, because I want to say that you may be able to get that up a little bit easier. Pretty good stuff, considering it also gives you, I mean, it would have to roll good, but you can get 25 to all of the resistances. So that one has some potential. Again, I couldn't give you guys the exact number. If it's the same as PoE 1 as far as block chance go, because you can also get like your more like a more block chance, or like you get more maximum block chance, but you lose, like, let's say flat chance, because all you want is just the modifiers to the max block chance. Then it applies to your resistances. So I think that's really cool. So next up we have the Crest of Ardura. So we get increased armor, energy shield, we get int, and then we get increased mana regen and increased cooldown recovery rate. So that could be kind of cool if you need to activate your abilities a lot faster. That could be something, because this is kind of a rare stat to get the cooldown and recovery rate. And then Rise of the Phoenix, we get 5% maximum fire res, 25 fire res, 25% fire resistance while on low life. We regen 3% of life per second, and regen 3% of life per second while on low life. Awesome thing, especially if you, I don't know, is Righteous Fire even a thing in PoE 2? Maybe there's a unique or something like that, but nonetheless, maybe you can utilize it for that. Righteous Fire is like a skill that like drains your HP, but like if I'm regenerating 3% of my life per second, that already is actually pretty good in PoE 2, because yeah, it's kind of hard to get some recovery on some of the bosses when you're out of the flasks. Again, it's more so for like maybe like leveling and like learning the game. I think this is a very healthy like thing to have. It's gonna make you feel a lot more confident going into the boss fights. Next up we have the Death Rattle, which is a little twig focus, and it says you get energy shield, some spell damage, some int, and 20% chance your energy shield restart when you kill an enemy. Oh, so you can keep on like eliminating enemies and you start recharging. Oh, cool. Again, leveling item. Then we have Threaded Light, which is a woven focus, which gives us energy shield, mana regen, increased light radius, and increased spell damage per 10 spirit. Okay, so maybe you can become a spirit stacker, and then you can utilize this. Unfortunately, it's not as like, I think they should have made this like also give you spirit, because then you'd be losing out. Like if you really wanted to build something around spirit stacking, then you'd want to run as many scepters as possible, because it gives you based on like 100, right? Then we have Carrion Call, which is engraved focus. So we have more maximum energy shield. Minions have increased maximum life. And then 20 to 30 increase mana regen rate, and minions' resistances are equal to yours. So you can make them a little bit more tanky. They have Serpent's Lesson, which is a focus that gives us maximum life, maximum mana, and then you count as low life while at 35% maximum mana or below, and you count as low mana while at 35% of maximum life or below. Cool item for sure to, again, if you want some complex build, maybe you can use that. And then we have the Eternal Spark Crystal Focus, which gives us some energy shield, some max lightning resistance, more lightning res, and 50% increased mana regeneration while stationary. So if you're maybe holding still, you can maybe make some great use out of that. But is it even really that good? Does it require... Again, it is more like interesting things. And then finally, they put Tabula Rasa at the bottom here. So as far as I'm aware of, by the way, when it says rune sockets, those are the ones where you can modify. It does also say coming soon. So maybe it's not in the game yet. I don't know. Keep in mind that this website does use sometimes data mines. So take everything I said with a grain of salt. Now that we finished all of them, I can tell you for sure a lot of the items, honestly, are just kind of meant for leveling. But there were a couple that really stuck out. I'll probably make a separate video going over like that ones that I really enjoyed. But let me know if there's any other really cool ones that you guys felt like maybe I didn't like hype up enough. Obviously things like Headhunter was a cool, very awesome item. We had some sort of like new like Omega Chase item. So far, the one that gets me the most excited was that belt that gives us like 50% damage recoup mana. Like that's just really, really cool, because that's literally like 50% DR. I mean, it is over 8 seconds, but if we get extra recoup mana, which there could be some items. I know that with one of the sorceress's ascendancies, you can get like 40% of Ellie recouped as HP, so I can get that recoup as HP and mana at the same time. I'm really looking at an incredibly tanky build, and it's gonna be awesome for my like beginner like friendly guide for like Sork. Anyways, that's gonna wrap it up. Let me know, like I said, if there's any like really cool ones now that we went over all of them. If you guys haven't seen any of them, maybe you just started watching this one. I have covered all of the legendary weapons, rings, amulets, belts. I finished all of them. I'm glad I finished all of them, because I want to know what to look out for, and now I know what I want to go ahead and trade for. But anyways, that's gonna wrap things up. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good one. Peace.